Mirrored reciprocation, go first, go positive. So what does this mean? There was a guy named Peter Kaufman. He used to be the CEO of a company called Glenair. And he gave this talk to this group of MBA students about how to be more successful in their work and also their relationships. And he does this through use of mental models. Mental models are basically tools that we have in our heads that help us make decisions better in the real world. He bases his mental models on science. He talks about physics and Sir Isaac Newton's third law of thermodynamics, which states that for every action, there is an opposite and equal reaction. He also references biology, talking about instincts with living creatures. So the example that he gives is if you have a cat and you grab a cat's tail, you can expect to get scratched in the eyes. With humans, if you go to the doctor and the doctor taps your knee in a specific spot with that little instrument, you can expect that your knee is going to jerk, it's going to move. So that's physics and biology. But how does Kaufman relate this to being successful in human relationships? So he calls it mirrored reciprocation. If you're positive and you listen to other people, you can expect that they will probably return the favor. There was a social psychologist named Robert Cialdini, and he did a lot of study on human psychology and influence, and his research shows that humans have a tendency to return favors and to return kindness. It's hardwired into our behavior. The reason we have it is because we need to cooperate. When humans cooperate, it increases our chances of survival. So this gets back to biology. Moving on, mirrored reciprocation in action is what Kaufman calls go first, go positive. So if you want to have a good interaction with somebody, you should make the first attempt to interact with them and bring a lot of positive energy. This increases the chances that they will respond in the same way. The example that he uses is getting on an elevator. When you get on an elevator and you smile at everybody that's in there, you're most likely going to get some smiles back. If you're walking out on the street and you smile at other people, typically they will smile back. Not always, but typically. So how does this relate to mental health? How does mirrored reciprocation, how does this idea of go first, go positive relate to mental health? There's a couple ways. So one is what's called a behavioral experiment. That means if you have thoughts that are negative, that are affecting the way that you feel, for example, having the thought, nobody ever notices me, then you go out in the world and you act to collect some data that might contradict that thought. So if I go out on the street and I'm going for a walk and I wave at other people, in mirrored reciprocation, most of the time people will wave back. Not always, but enough that will counteract that idea that nobody wants to interact with me. Nobody notices me. The second way that mirrored reciprocation plays a role in mental health is through mirroring. So therapists during a session, they will mirror, they will reflect back to the patient or back to the client rather. And so they do this by reflecting emotion, summarizing what the client is going through, validating the client's experience. This is a way of showing empathy. It builds rapport. It makes for a close relationship moving forward so that both the client and the therapist feel comfortable with each other. The other upshot of this is that the client walks away with a model of how to interact with people in the outside world, outside of therapy. So they can try those same things, validation, reflecting emotion. If you want somebody to take interest in you, if you want somebody to get to know you better, to be close to you, go first, go positive. Ask them how they're feeling, reflect that back to them, take interest in their interests, and they're more likely to do it back to you. So that's reciprocation at mirrored reciprocation at work. Go first, go positive. Until next time.